All right. Well, I know we have a kind of like a big demo ahead of us. So should we go ahead and get started?
Sure, Christina, let's go for it.
All right. Well, I officially want to welcome everybody to the annual Kalamazoo Foodways Symposium. If you've been following along with us for the week, this is our day four of the symposium. We are going to be wrapping up tomorrow with a Q&A from our keynote speaker, Abra Behrens. If you haven't signed up for that, there's still spots. The registration is on our website, kalamazoofoodways.org, and both of her talks and a demo is on the website. So if you wanted to ask her questions, she's phenomenal, and she'll be here with us tomorrow from 11 to noon. So before we go further and talking about today's session, I just briefly wanted to introduce myself and Lizzie. We will be your host for today. Oh my God, we have a hello from Nicaragua. So I'm Christina. I work at Kalamazoo Valley Community College as Food Systems Program Coordinator. And Lizzie, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So great to see you. Well, have you join us today. Thank you so much. My name is Lizzie Luxinger. I am Program Coordinator for Community Culinary and Nutrition. So excited to be here. This is going to be an awesome presentation. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Yulia.
Thank you, Lizzie. Yeah, and then we have Catherine says that her father-in-law is Ukrainian. And then we have Dea from Kosovo. Hi, Dea. Wonderful. I love this. So, I mean, in this event, the Kalamazoo Foodways Symposium, it's really like historically every year we've chosen a cultural theme, and we've taken a weekend. This year, actually, we've taken a whole week to celebrate the foodways of that region. And so this year we've done it a little bit differently. Instead of choosing a cultural region, we've actually chosen kind of like a concept, and it's plant forward foodways, plant forward eating. And we like to say we're celebrating the past, but we are eating for the future. And if you've attended some of our previous sessions, there have been a lot of discussions about the ethics of eating plant-based or plant-forward eating, and how it reduces the carbon footprint. And we haven't even dabbled into the health benefits of that, but we've been kind of focusing on the environmental aspect of it. And also because plants are amazing and phenomenal, and we just want to celebrate them. And this session, I'm very excited because we're celebrating plants and we're celebrating Ukrainian culture. So I'm very excited today to introduce to you our chef for today, Yulia Sergeyeva. And Yulia, I want to just say a little bit about you before I hand it over to you. Yulia is a talented user experience designer with a passion for baking and food photography. In a little bit, I'm going to share her Instagram in the chat box so you can actually like see her food photography. It's phenomenal. She was born and raised in Ukraine and came to Kalamazoo in 2015 on a Fulbright scholarship to study at Western Michigan University. Yulia enjoys exploring different cuisines, sharing her traditional food with others, and discovering stories on how food connects and influences people. And what a great opportunity that we're here today to get connected around food. And even though it's virtual, I can tell you that this whole week, there's been so much positive energy generated around these sessions. So I feel connected to all of you, and I'm very excited that Yulia is here with us. So Yulia, welcome.
Thank you so much, Christina and Lizzie. I was just trying to be quiet to do not interfere with all this Zoom thing. And yeah, this definitely feels different from my previous experience here, where it was a full room of people, and now I have to like imagine all of you sitting in these chairs. But yeah, let's try to do it digitally this time. And I think Christina, you already covered my introduction, so maybe I can go quickly through the first few slides and we can get into cooking.
Sounds great.
By the way, do we have anyone who has been in previous KVCC workshop? It was like, what, year and a half ago? So yeah, today I will be talking about Ukrainian plant-based food, like why we, what is the history behind traditional Ukrainian plant-based meals that is not just, a modern fashion of turning everything vegan, but it's actually embedded in the culture and religion. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. So Lizzie, can you go for the next slide? And yeah, basically that Christina covered this part. We can go next. And yeah, so I am from Ukraine, and it is the biggest European country that is fully in Europe. The capital city is Kiev. Religion is Orthodox, and we will be talking about that later a little bit more. And we are famous for such things as inventing a gas lamp, building the biggest plane in Maria, and well, being a sightseeing for such places, having such sightseeing places, Chernobyl, that yes, you can book a tour there. And do not make mistake, it's not the Ukraine, which is very common here to say, unfortunately. And we do get upset about that a lot. And the most common questions is like, oh, well, you're from Ukraine, you must be used to cold weather. No, I'm from the south of Ukraine, the one that's like in front of Turkey, across from Turkey, from Black Sea. It's not colder than Michigan. So we're gonna go to the next slide. I wish I could see the questions, but it's so little. So I guess later. So yes, today we will be talking about the most famous, most important Ukrainian dish, borscht. And overall, Ukrainian cuisine is very rich in grains, vegetables, and meat, primarily pork. There is actually a religious explanation why pork is so popular. Is that when we had invasions of I believe Mongols, Turkish, etc. So that would be the only meat that they avoid, and that was always something that we could rely on. I know that probably that's not acceptable. Oh, okay, not acceptable for a lot of countries in that region. But it's really popular. We eat a lot of sala, which is basically salted pork fat. Sounds gross, but it is delicious, I promise. So yeah, and if you're religious Orthodox person, you follow a lot of Lents. Oh, sorry, I think we use the same word for all of them. I think in English is the main one is Lent, the one before Easter. The rest are fasts. So we have Lent, we have plenty of fasts that are spread through the year and cumulatively make about 200 days. And they all have different level of strictness, but most of them mean no meat. Some of them go more harsh, and it's like no oil and I think only raw food. My family is not religious, but this is so embedded in culture that everyone knows about it. Around Easterland's time, restaurants offer vegan, vegetarian menus, and so it's you usually know alternatives, vegan alternatives to all the meals. So many traditional meals can be cooked both as the one with meatless and with meat. Same as borscht, and I will be talking about that today, that you can do either way, and both of them are delicious. It's entirely up to you which one you prefer. And yeah, let's move to the next slide and start cooking. So yes, today we are cooking borscht. That's how it will look in the end. And I shared the recipe with instructions, like what you have to prepare if you are cooking with us today. Is anyone cooking while I'm explaining?
And I just posted the recipe in the chat box. So if you're not, you can get the recipe and get the ingredients to make this for dinner today, even.
Absolutely. If if someone is cooking while I'm explaining, please let me know so I will slow down or answer the questions once they pop up. Otherwise, we'll be talking about food and making this one at the speed that I have. The thing is that here everything is prepared, everything is shredded, diced, and chopped. So I have a lot of time to just talk about food. So the first step is we are making stock broth. So the base for soup. If you're making the one based on meat, you can use pretty much any meat with bones and joints. It could be chicken, it could be beef, it could be pork, it could be a mixture of beef and pork. And in that case, you start a little bit earlier, so you prepare the base before. So you will need probably like an hour. I think it's written in the recipe. And if you are doing just vegetable one, the most basic version is just to start with onion and bay leaf. If you have vegetable broth, stock, what is the right word, broth or stock?
I think it's both. Lizzie,
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong. I think.
So,
Broth?
yeah, there's some variant depending on what is going in it and how it's processed. But I mean, I think it's, you know, in common English language, I think they're interchangeable. We all totally get what you're talking about. You're doing great.
Okay, I'll call it broth.
Yep.
So for the most basic one, you basically put like half an onion. You can put whatever vegetable scrapes you have. This is how I start because we will be adding a lot of vegetables later, so this will be just enough for now. We brought water to boil. If you're cooking with us, that's what was the most important step to catch up with everything. And adding some salt. I will be adding more later to taste. This is just the base, and let it simmer. Okay, this is a very fancy stove. So I'll just let it simmer there while I'm preparing the rest of the stuff. So now I'll be cooking the base that we use pretty much in all soups and other vegetable dishes. Like if you make those cabbage rolls that are, I think, pretty popular in all Eastern Europe, you also use that base. It consists out of onions, carrots, and tomatoes, with more or less like alternations with different spices and stuff. So I will start making that. For that, we need to preheat the pan. And yeah, I'll be showing it once it's hot.
So Yulia, I have a quick question while we're waiting for that. I know you had mentioned in the past that you can make this ahead of time and it actually tastes better the next day. How long does it keep? How do you usually make it when you make it at home?
You usually make a huge pot and eat it for a week. So the thing is that in Ukraine, soups is more of like appetizer for lunch. So you never eat soup as the only meal. Nowadays you can, but the traditional is like you eat soup and then, so our soups are quite watery and light, although you can make it more like filling. But the way my family would do, it's like my mom would make a large pot on the weekend, and then on the weekdays you just reheat it. So it usually lasts 5 days easily. You don't reheat the whole pot, you just reheat the portion that you're gonna eat. These days you can microwave it, that's pretty easy. Yeah, so it lasts long, and usually like the more you let it simmer in the end, and then let it just like all the flavors marry each other, the better it will taste. So if you're cooking today while I'm showing, leave it for like an hour in the end, so it will taste even better and more rich.
Thank you.
Were there any other questions?
Well, if yeah, so participants, feel free to submit questions in the chat box or in the Q&A section. We'll kind of go along and address them as Yulia is cooking, or if we don't get to them while she's cooking, we can take some time at the end for Q&A, but feel free to connect with us that way.
She's up there with a really tricky induction burner. So it's all touch controls and it can be a little fussy. So I applaud your Courage, Yulia, you're doing great. Let me know if you need me to come help. I'm right here.
It seems working. I just like waiting. I'm not used to like what temperature means what. So
I can hear it. That sound kind of indicates to me it's, yeah.
it sounds funny. Yeah. So I was
It's
like,
really,
the right thing.
it's really interesting with induction burners. We learned when we were doing the keynote speech that the induction burners, like, because they're magnetic, they interfere with the microphones on the laptops. And so it makes that little noise. So if you
can actually hear this noise through the mic.
we can hear a little bit of a noise. And if you actually had an actual microphone, I think we would be able to hear it even more. But even the microphone from the laptop is picking it up. And
Interesting.
we can hear the noise.
So Ristina, we just got a question. Can we post the recipe in chat? Did you, I think you did that. Is
I
it
just
the
did.
link
So
there?
yeah, so the link that's right before that comment, I can post it again.
Okay,
Uh,
it's a long link.
it is a long link. I wish I could make those links smaller. That's the link I just reposted again.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, while we're waiting for that to warm up, I can also, I'm just really excited about Yulia's Instagram account. So I just want to like briefly show you how beautiful some of her pictures are. So I'm briefly just gonna share my screen. Lizzie, let me know when it shows up.
Yep.
Uh,
It is there.
See it? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So this is her Kalamazoo food photography. So if you're on Instagram, you can follow her. And I mean, look at this amazing eye. You're just getting hungry just looking at them.
Just their eye for photography, it makes the food look so delicious. And Yulia is one heck of a baker too. Her cakes are works of art. Like I think if I had one of her cakes, I don't know, I'd be able to cut it. I think I might mourn the loss of the art that it is. So I think Yulia also has a baking Instagram, which is so fun to follow too, because it really, I think, reimagines how we typically, plate and compose dishes, and really viewing it through the lens of an artist. It's inspiring.
Thank you. It all started as a hobby, and actually, for some time I was trying to do that as a side job, but I don't know. I guess I enjoy it while it is a hobby, and I don't have like any requirements to follow, and I just can have fun and do it the way I want. Sorry, I'll interrupt all of this with
Please.
the steps that we need to do. So we're gonna start with frying onions. So as for many other dishes, small diced onions, fried until golden brown, very simple.
So Yulia, we have a question that came up. Patricia said that she's been searching for a good borscht recipe for a while. So I think this is oh, you can't hear me?
I can't hear you right now, I'm sorry, this is
It's probably because she's sauteing, so I'll answer.
Okay.
So we can ask her when she's done sauteing if you can hear me. But I think she is serving this with bread, so kind of like a riff on garlic bread and some sour cream. But once she's done sauteing and the noise of the cooking goes down on her end, we can ask her for clarification.
And this is why we're here, so probably, yeah, okay, should be better soon.
Yeah.
It's usually really loud in the beginning when it's like watery onion sizzling in oil.
Yeah. And Lexi noted that the food shown in photos at the beginning of the session on your Instagram looked so delicious. I don't know if you can hear me now, Yulia. You might be able to hear me through the board too.
Yes.
It says, do you have a favorite traditional recipe you would recommend for a less experienced cook or baker?
Favorite recipe in general or Ukrainian? Sorry, I missed that.
Well, she said traditional, so I kind of interpreted that as,
traditional favorite Ukrainian recipe. I mean, borscht is favorite because it's just like the most important famous thing. It's just a staple. I don't know. Really good question. I'll think about that and I'll tell you later.
Cool.
I feel like, while I was at home, like I was experimenting with other cuisines of other countries and trying to cook something that I cannot buy there easily, order. And then when I went abroad, I just started craving very basic, very simple things from home. So I don't know. I mean, I can cook a lot of stuff, but like which one is like something? I don't know. Good question.
I'll say
The cabbage rolls is something that is everyone likes so far, so that could be something, and usually a little bit time consuming to make, so I don't make it that often, but really love eating them. So now I added shredded carrots, and you have to add them when the onions are golden brown, otherwise they won't cook. So you just continue sauteing it until you see that the carrots also like softer and get some color and flavor, which I think will be pretty fast. I am like still trying to make friends with this stove, and it's either too hot or too cold.
You're doing a great job. It takes time to figure out, and I'm really impressed. I can smell it through the wall, and it's amazing. So I'll just say I'm sorry to everyone.
The onions start smelling.
Yeah, it smells so good. I'm sorry you can't be here to enjoy it. Hopefully next year, but I will just say it smells like we have an expert behind the controls there.
And just a clarification, I think from Patricia earlier, she was wondering, because earlier you said that you eat the soup as an appetizer and then you serve something else. And so I think she's wondering, like, what do you usually serve the soup with? Like, kind of like after you eat the soup, can it be any dish, or is it like specific dishes that go along with it?
Any dish, usually the thing is like most of our dishes, like the main meals are like protein and grains. So like, for example, I think the closest example here will be like boiled rice. We boil a lot of grains. So we have rice, millet, buckwheat, barley, another few grains that I don't know names in English, but you basically boil it, add some salt, either olive oil or butter in the end, and you serve that as a side. Salads, mostly in summer, pickles in winter. Like until very recent, our diets were very seasonal. Even now, like the fresh stuff in winter is like significantly more expensive. So you try to eat it in summer when it's the most like affordable, it is in season, and I guess it's also more like sustainable. But like since we produce a lot of fruits, vegetables, herbs, in summer they're really cheap. They really cost cents, and that's beautiful. That's something that I miss a lot. So plus also we have pretty hot summer. Some of my friends laugh at what I'm saying, but like sometimes it's too hot to eat in summer. So in summer we prefer lighter dishes, colder dishes. Yeah, but usually if it is soup, after that, everything we eat everything with bread. So it's soup with a slice of bread or that garlic bread preferably. And then main meal, which can be again those like cabbage rolls. It could be just meat or, with grains. It could be any other dish.
Yeah, it sounds really similar to my background is from Macedonia, which is another small country in Eastern Europe. And it seems like we do the same thing, like some sort of a light soup before any kind of main meal, regardless of what it is.
Yep.
And it's more as a kind of like a starter. Okay, now we're gonna start the meal. And Janet said that her Ukrainian friends always make pink salad for her. Does that sound familiar to you? That reminds me a little bit of that
Did you get
boiled salad that you made, but I don't know.
it? It
What
was
is
in the
it?
slides too, so I don't know if you want to pull those pictures, maybe that will remind us. So sorry. Now after onions and carrots are cooked, I will add some tomato paste. Usually it's like one can of tomato paste, a small one. Really depends on your taste and how strong that tomato paste is, and then you immediately add water, which I need more.
So delicious.
And,
Everything she makes is amazing.
and like, don't worry to add too much water because it will go into the soup. So you're adding it just basically to mix everything well together and let all the flavors marry each other.
Mm-hmm.
And here is also the time when I would add salt, pepper, herbs. Oh, I forgot to add garlic. Yo.
We'll just
You-
pretend.
You're supposed to add garlic and okay, you know what? I forgot to add celery, so I will fry it as a second step again. Sorry, I get distracted talking about food.
Seems like there's a lot of flexibility in this dish that even if you kind of make it separately, or
Yeah.
that's okay.
It's just convenient to fry it all together, of course. So it will be just one pan.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is that black pepper?
yes, so this was black pepper. This is, I believe, either dried basil or Italian herbs or something. You can use either. And actually, I may. Oh no, well, I'll use the same pan later.
I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. That looks like a great texture.
So it's like very salty.
Yes. What if somebody wanted to use carrots that were chopped instead of shredded? Would you recommend
Wait, sorry, is it chopped?
chopped instead of shredded? Would you recommend that or no?
You can. Some people also like julienne them the same as like we're gonna have beets done later.
Beets.
So
Mhm.
this is just like the way for me is like faster and easier usually. So,
Mhm. It cooks quicker. So how long do you cook that for?
I usually just let it simmer. I cover it with the lid and I let it simmer while I'm preparing the next ingredients. Since now we have everything ready, I don't know, like 5 minutes.
Yeah. So I love that broth idea.
It's, I know it sounds just onion and bay leaves, but it's actually people. Oh, thank you, Liz. Thank you so much. You're welcome. So we
Yeah.
have a pan that will make everything faster. I'll just keep this aside for a second, and I will start with.
You want me to heat it? Or
No,
is
no,
it-
it's okay. Just,
Perfect.
you can just wait there. So I'll just quickly fry garlic and celery. That's supposed to go there. Garlic goes in all Ukrainian dishes. The more, the merrier.
How many cloves roughly do you think is in there?
4, 5.
Okay, nice.
I will use like a heaped tablespoon. Like this is the amount we have here. How much I rolled? I rolled, yeah, garlic 2-3 pieces. So with
Mhm.
about 2-3 cloves. But again, you could put more. Most of these ingredients like to taste. Like as you can see, I'm not measuring like a cup or 2 cups or tablespoons. I wrote it down so there will be some reference, but usually just like you cook, you eyeball everything.
I think it's good to say that because sometimes, if somebody doesn't have the exact quantity of something, it's still okay to make the soup and not have to run to the grocery store. And I know I asked you about the broth earlier, but yesterday Chef Corey was talking about how sometimes he just uses water in soup instead of buying the store-bought broth. And I think what you're demonstrating here, that like you can make really quick, easy broth just while you're making your soup. We're just adding some veggies and herbs.
I know some people collect those like scrapes from broccoli, from cauliflower to make vegetable broth. Please, you can do that. That's not like what we traditionally do because that's not like our traditional vegetable, but I don't think it's gonna change anything. As long as you're not adding any strong flavors, you could experiment. All right, this is actually cooking very fast. That's great. So yeah, then we had diced celery. I'm not using all of it. I use like less than a cup.
Mm-hmm.
So in the recipe it says celery sticks. Well, yeah, some celery sticks. If you have any questions about any amounts that I didn't mention in the recipe or while talking, please let me know because I may just think it's obvious when it is not. So it's just slightly sauteed also to just develop some taste and color. I didn't want to add it in the main mixture because then it would just like boil it. You still want to get flavor out of it. So it smells really good right now.
It does. I love that too, like recipes that have flexibility. So if you also have ingredients that you want to use up versus waste or compost, you know, if you love garlic, you can add more. If you have, you know, 3 sticks of celery that are going bad and you want to use them, you could probably throw 3 sticks of celery in, you know, and just kind of adapt these recipes to your life. And I love having recipes like that in my back pocket. So, you know,
Some people add bell peppers. I think celery is kind of like more, well, celery sticks probably is like more of like recent addition to it. We have celery root that we use for cooking that you can also mix in here. So I think this is good. So this is like all mixed together. And now we add it to the pot with water just to make it easier later to serve. I would fish this onion out.
So much flavor going in there.
Yeah.
So I just realized I missed something. So the beetroot's supposed to go there earlier. All right. I'll let it simmer. So yeah, the beetroot that we use at home, you're actually supposed to boil it way more, but it's like different colors. So you're supposed to reach the right color before you start adding all the ingredients. And I definitely wrote it in the recipe, but I didn't follow it myself. It's still fine. It probably will just take more time to boil it in the end, but follow the steps that I wrote, not those that I said. I'm sorry. I feel bad that while I'm talking about food, I get distracted and I start like too much improvising here.
There's a lot of new things. The big kitchen, it's this induction burner is kind of finicky. And I think that, I mean, honestly, the message at the end is that it will still turn out good, and that even if you don't do everything step by step, you can kind of improvise, and I love that about it as well. So
the main point is like to add ingredients in the order they go. So obviously you add the cabbage in the last one, because if you cook it too long, it will be mush, and you don't want that. You add potatoes like in the middle, so they have enough time to cook. These base, yeah, I guess you can mix and match the order. And as long as they all give away all the flavors and colors to the soup, that's all that matters.
I see Yulia. Oh, sorry, Lizzie, you're gonna say something?
Well, I was going to say another thing I loved about this recipe is there's so many different like cuts. So we kind of did a julienne on the beetroot, and we sliced the potato, we shredded the cabbage and the carrots. And so I was thinking to myself as we were preparing for this, it'd be a really fun dish to do with kids if you're trying to teach them different knife skills, because there's a lot of different like textures and components to this that I think are really fun. Like from a culinary standpoint, it's really engaging. So that was another aspect I loved about this recipe. And it's also just super colorful. And, you know, from what you're showing us, it's adaptable, which we all love and need. Like, you know, yeah. So there's so many strengths in this recipe, and yeah, it smells awesome. Like I said, I'm trying not to drool on camera, but it smells amazing. So you're doing great.
And yeah, absolutely. Plus, you know, there is no harm if something is diced smaller or bigger. If kids helping and engaged and love learning about food and participating, I think that's beautiful. And that's how I learned to cook. I would be just like in the kitchen with either my mom or my grandma's, because, you know, they cannot just like play with me the whole day. They need to make food, and my mom works, or she's a physician, so she comes home late and she needs to like check my homework, make the dinner, and like, no jokes. I'm telling everyone that I'm a weirdo because my mom explained anatomy on a chicken when I was like 10 years old. So she would be like, it's like farm chickens that has things inside. So I think I was studying biology, and she was like, well, you know, why would we use books if we can do it right here?
I love it. What an environment to grow up and learn in. That's incredible.
So yeah, and I grew up like spending summer at the countryside house of my grandparents, which is like, I know it sounds fancy, but it's more of like mini farm. And it started in the 90s when it was also like a source of food for many people. Now they use it mostly like they still keep the garden, and they just they grow all the things to support themselves there while they're in summer, because that's where they live like 4-6 months a year. But yeah, I grew up basically just eating bell pepper from a bush like an apple, and I don't know, it was fun. And
amazing.
To me, that's like so normal, and I take it for granted. But now I understand it was a really great learning experience, and probably that what shaped my love to food and playing with food, experimenting with food. And I'm really grateful for that.
That's awesome. So Yulia, we have a question from Norma. She's asking, when you made your kind of initial broth, how much water did you boil with the onion and bay leaves? Is there a ratio that you'd recommend there, or eyeball it? What are your thoughts?
I usually cook like this size of the pot, and I think that's what I wrote here, that's 5 quarts of water. So as long as you have a little bit space left in there, so when you add vegetables, there's still room. Yeah, all these ingredients, I think, for like 5 quarts of water.
Okay, great.
Okay, one more or less. Once you make it this way, you will also figure out, like, some people like it more like filling with more vegetables. Some people make it more like watery. Really depends. Also, sometimes you just like have an extra carrot and an extra celery stick, and you end up with more.
Perfect.
This is not really a thing that you cook in a small pot.
All right, I love it. Grab your big pots, friends.
Yeah.
All right, how's it doing? Oh, it's good rolling boil there.
It's beautiful color. I don't know if the camera translates that.
Yeah, let's spotlight it. Woohoo, thanks, Christina. It's gorgeous.
The beet seems like it's magical in there.
Yeah.
So the beetroot here still has color, so it's like very purple. The goal is like to boil it until it starts losing color and starts like getting like pink grayish and transparent. Well, we are short on time, so that's what we have right now. I'm sure it will still taste delicious, and whoever will have all this pot reheated tomorrow, it will be better. So next step. Next step, we add potatoes. Let me drain the water.
So we had the potatoes in water just to prevent them from oxidizing, but I don't think that's a step you all will have to take at home. We were just trying to prep some stuff for her in advance.
Yeah, usually like if you follow this order, by the time you have the next vegetable prepared, the previous one is already like cooked and developed. So it just, while I was talking right now, normally I would prepare potatoes. And in that case, like you don't have to soak them in the water. Any type of potatoes, really, there is no specific type that you need to go and buy for this. Whatever you have at home works, which is also a beauty of this recipe. And I'm trying to estimate how much I think I will just put all of them. Also, we can add beans, but I didn't show the size of potatoes. Potatoes were like, so this is the cut for potatoes.
Nice.
Also, the rule is like, so when you eat it, it fits in a spoon, so they shouldn't be too long. Beans, if you have time to boil them and add ones, you can do that. If you use dry beans, in that case, you can use that water for the base for the soup. Canned ones work just as well. And if you make it with meat, you can skip beans, but I add them anyways. Tastes delicious. Also, either type of beans will work. It can be like we usually use white because those are the most popular, but red, kidney beans, black eyed peas, whatever, all of those, like they all work perfectly. Yeah, so at this point, I will taste it. Definitely needs more salt. And the last step left will be cabbage, but that one when everything is, when potatoes are cooked already or almost cooked, because we don't want cabbages to move there. And that's why you don't reheat everything together, because it will just start losing textures and getting bad faster.
So Julia, I see that you have green cabbage in the bowl. Could you use purple cabbage? Or would that kind of mess up the color?
It may, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, taste-wise, I don't think it will change anything, but color-wise, it may make everything bluish. Good
Yeah,
question.
initially I thought because of the beets and the purple cabbage it might go nice, but then purple cabbage kind of turns blue when it's cooked, so maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I cooked it a couple of times separately and it turned out some fun colors, so I prefer it fresh for that reason.
Lizzie, what's your culinary experience with purple cabbage?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be kind of careful about the application with the color bleeding. So that's why I picked, traditional just green cabbage here today. But I mean, what's to say you can't experiment and have fun, and maybe you have a innovative group at home who wants to try eating blue soup, then go for it. I mean, I don't think it will alter the flavor profile too dramatically. So if you're looking to have some creative fun and you have a purple cabbage at home that you want to put to use, go for it. I think,
Love it.
we get so caught up in recipes, and like, I really want people to just enjoy cooking and not get too stressed about, following all the rules, if you will. I mean, certainly there are some things you have to be more scientific about, but, just experiment and have fun. Like, it should be a fun endeavor.
If someone cooks it with purple cabbage, please send me a picture.
I I actually might, because I like to buy purple. When I buy cabbage, I like to buy the purple ones just because I think like extra antioxidants. Honestly, any cabbage is great and it's full of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants. I always think about, eating the rainbow and I'm like, ooh, purple, I want a purple, just to add color. And then I always try to figure out what to do with it. And I haven't cooked much with it, but I usually like would, cut it up in salads and stuff like that. But that's the one I would usually have around. So I might, in the
All right.
spirit of using what
Nice.
you have.
Okay. Oh, I love the color. I love it fresh. And it just, yeah, I do have good luck with cooking it. It's like turns all those like blue grayish colors and like that does not look appetizing.
So Yulia, you let me know if you want me to go back to slides while that simmers, or how's it doing over there? What are you looking for right now?
I'm waiting for it to boil again and for potatoes to cook. I know we're probably running short on time, right?
So it is 4:48. But I mean, we're here for you. So we're a captivated audience. So you tell us what you would prefer.
It's nice. I mean, I don't want to hold people for longer, so but we totally can continue talking. Just to make sure that if someone needs to leave at 5, we're waiting for potatoes to cook. You can just again cook, at least taste it, cut it to see whether it's cooked, and then you add cabbage. Leave it for another like 2-3 minutes, simmer under the lid. That's it. You taste it. If you want to add parsley, salt, pepper, garlic, whatever you feel like it's missing, please add, as long as like within the same range flavors. And yeah, if you're cooking it at home now, leave it to simmer for maybe like super low heat for another half an hour. Well, no, not half an hour, like another like 15 minutes before you add cabbage. So have all the flavors are like marrying together. We can continue talking about it. Cook a little bit more.
So Yulia, can I ask a quick question about the cabbage? Oh, is she still there? Oh,
Oh, yeah. I
yeah,
think
maybe it's me.
I think your image froze, Lizzie.
Okay. I was gonna say, quick question about the cabbage. If I was gonna make the soup on a Sunday and then eat it, maybe cool it and then eat it during the week, would you recommend that I add the cabbage when I reheat it, or you just add the cabbage when you initially make it?
You add it when you initially make it. As long as you like don't boil it the whole thing every time, you're good. So you either warm up in a pot, smaller amount that you're gonna eat right away, or microwave it.
Perfect. Thank you. All right.
Nice. And I don't know, Lizzie, if you could share her slides again, but I'd love to see that pink salad.
Yeah.
Go to the pink salad, and I think the rest are like mostly just steps. Yeah, these are ingredients. Pink salad was before.
Okay, let's go back.
One
There
slide.
it is, right?
That's the pink salad.
Oh, that's okay. Janet, tell us if that's the one that your friends make for you.
We made it at the previous workshop here at QCC.
What's in it?
Yes, I see the answer.
Nice.
It's pretty much what we see here, just like chopped and cooked in different ways. It's potatoes, beetroot, carrots, boiled actually like in their peels. Then you peel it, dice it. Canned peas, small diced onion, pickles diced. Everything is diced to the same size, basically to the size of canned peas, and mixed together. Olive oil. We use sunflower oil. Olive oil will do just fine, and you can add parsley, dill, whatever you have to taste. Yeah.
It was a crowd favorite. It was one of those recipes that everyone just like gobbled up the entire salad that night. It was in person. Everyone made this salad, and they made dumplings, right, Yulia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those you see above that we were making.
Up top.
Yeah,
And
there are
what-
two, I just realized there are 2 pictures. One was like cranberries, I think. Another was probably potatoes, the way they are cooked.
Yeah. And what is this dish in the kind of top right hand.
That's salted pork fat I was talking about.
Ah, okay. With radish and cabbage?
I think it started with pickles. Is it radish? From here it looks like tomato.
Oh, tomato, sure.
We pickle tomatoes, so we pickle all vegetables basically. And yeah, that's just like also another appetizer for everything, and for drinking hard liquors like vodka, obviously those are flavors. So one of the tricks is like you eat a lot of fatty food, so it protects your stomach and protects you from getting drunk. So that's a very good source of fat.
Love it. All right. So let's,
I love that Janet shared that the family from Kiev live in Chicago now, and every time I see them in downtown Chicago, I bring them vegetables from the garden and they bring me pink salad. I
oh,
love that. Yes, that's
There's a
great
lot of nice stores in Chicago that sell Ukrainian food, Ukrainian ingredients, Polish ingredients. I mean, there is a district called Ukrainian Village, and there are few restaurants, few stores. There are two big churches, and whenever we go to Chicago by car, it's definitely my place to go to stock up on goodies for the next few months.
love it. All right. So let's see here. Refrigerate and reheat. Awesome. What a beautiful picture.
it's gorgeous. That color.
That's awesome.
Any other questions that are? We have about 6-7 minutes left. How often do you make this at home, Yulia?
Usually when I have gas to show off with this, I don't know, just for us, we don't eat that amount of soup. But sometimes that happens to, but I don't know. But I would say that once in a couple of months, maybe less. Now, because of COVID, we don't really have guests.
Right.
So the way I check potatoes is just like try to break them with another spoon so they are soft, meaning that they are cooked. I will taste it one more time to make sure that there's enough salt and everything. And that's what I think it can take more salt.
So Yulia, we have a question. What is the name of the pink salad?
Vinaigrette.
Vinaigrette. Okay. Camille's asking if the soup will freeze well.
I never tried. I don't see why not. You can try and share it with me on Instagram.
I was gonna say, that sounds like, Camille, we would love for you to experiment and let us know.
From what I know, what you can freeze, I mean, as long as all these vegetables are cooked, I think they freeze fine, right?
I'm gonna enter in how to spell the salad.
Okay, I was going to go for it, Lizzie. I had to look it up, to be honest.
Do you have it pulled?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Do you want me to go for it?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you already did. I was gonna say, we also have her recipe from before, in our program, our previous program notes.
So I'm adding just a little bit more of black pepper. Salt is almost fine. Add just a little bit more. The thing is, like, potatoes and cabbage also take some salt, so you need to taste it. Then more herbs. I will add cabbage at this point. Be careful, don't add too much of it, because somehow when it cooks, it just starts like, I don't think it expands, but it really takes over the space. So you don't want it to be primarily cabbage soup. I would add some parsley right now, but I would add it in while serving, so it's still fresh.
So, Yulia, how many servings would you say you would get from this recipe?
How coarse per serving do you usually eat? How many course per serving do you have?
You get 4 servings per quart, Lizzie? Is that roughly?
I mean, there's such a variable. Again, I think it's hard to like, like this is the way it's supposed to be. So I would, well, I'm sorry, I was scrolling through the other questions. Was the question how many servings would be in this pot?
Right, yeah.
I think it depends also, like if you make it meatless, it's very light. If you use meat and like fatty meat, it will fill you up more. Again, since this is usually not a main dish, you still eat something after that. So you can, I really don't know. I would.
Yeah, is it an appetizer? Is it an entree? Is it, yeah, I mean.
If we have guests, we just have seconds and then we are done with this pot and that's it. So I don't know. At home, you stretch it for a week and you eat it in smaller portions every day. So try to count how many servings you made, how many servings it turned out to be for your family, and let us know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm answering all the questions like that.
I was gonna look at the recipe she wrote. Yeah, I don't see a yield there.
My instinct is to say like definitely 10 plus, and maybe that's generous. I don't know, because there's 5 quarts of water in here. Right? Roughly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think more than 10.
Yeah, if people just eat like 1 cup, that would be like 20.
One
Little
cup
bowl.
would be too small. It's still like too
Right.
much, I think, for that.
So I feel like I would have second. So
And then Yulia, when you serve this, you serve it with bread and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you go back to the first slide in my presentation, it shows the exact type of the bread we serve it with. It's more like those like dinner rolls, I think. And that's what we call garlic bread. They call it kompushki. And let's see what garlic bread is here. So here, yeah, so you can do, this is basically just bread toasted in the oven with some garlic. It's just totally fine. Garlic and olive oil usually I do. That just like adds that flavor. It's very far from what it is originally, but I think it's still great.
So let me share the first slide so everyone can see the rolls.
Yes, so that's how they should look. And they usually, in Ukraine, they're sold in stores in the bread section, so you usually buy them pre-made. You don't make them. And they are they pour like some oily mixture with garlic. If it's a little bit more fancy, it's also with parsley or dill. And they're like connected with each other, and then you tear them apart. So that's the garlic bread I was referring to.
Looks delicious. All right, any more questions from our attendees out there? We are at 5 o'clock. We want to make sure that we answer any questions you have. And I think we posed a lot of questions. So maybe we'll hear back from you and you can tell us how it went. Did you make this recipe with purple cabbage? Did you freeze it? Did you measure the yields? You're going to help us in our fact-finding mission too. So we hope to hear from you. And I encourage you all to go make this recipe. No doubt you will be grateful. So Yulia, thank you. Well done.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. So the last note on this, like I tasted right now, flavor-wise, everything is there, but like still it tastes like something is, to me, it's like tasting something is missing. Usually what is missing is like turn it off, cover it, leave it for half an hour. And then that what it should be. So this thing like Russian being cooked quickly. As I mentioned many times, if you leave it rest, it will taste better. Tomorrow, even better. So, yeah, but thank you for joining. Let me know if you have any questions. If you have any questions later when you cook it, feel free to message me through my Instagram. I don't know if you share my email somewhere. That could be also a way to contact me.
Julia, we do have a question. Someone's asking if you have a food blog in addition to your Instagram. No blog. Okay. But follow her on Instagram. If you don't have an Instagram account, it's worth signing up just for her pictures, I say.
I think I'm not going to answer any questions if there is more. Like, I'm not in a rush, so
Perfect.
I'll up to people.
But we have a lot of folks saying, great job, thank you, looks delicious. So a lot of folks commenting how much they appreciate it. And certainly I think you've inspired many to go out and cook. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yulia.
Last year it didn't get canceled because of COVID and you all could smell it and try it here. But well, this is better than nothing. So I'm happy that we still had a chance to connect through all this modern technology and share food digitally.
Yeah.
If you cook it.
And it'll give us something to look forward to next year. So hopefully next year we'll be able to celebrate in person and have the full experience. But thank you for your courage and joining us in this virtual world. And what a great job you did. And bravo for working that very tricky induction burner. She made it look easy, folks, but it is not. So really good job.
Thank you. And if you haven't signed up yet, I'm just going to post it one more time here in the chat box. I'm just posting it right now. It's the link to sign up for tomorrow's Q&A with Abra Behrens. She's a chef and farmer. Her keynote speech is at the beginning of our website, kalamazoofoodways.org. I am actually also just going to share that link as well, just so that you can watch it tonight if you haven't watched it. That will be wrapping up the 2021 Planned Forward Foodways Symposium. So we hope to see you there tomorrow. Yeah. And have a great evening, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.